Nithin Kamath is the CEO and founder of Zerodha, India's first discount brokerage firm and the most profitable retail broking business, accounting for over 4% of retail volumes at the exchange. Nithin, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Pleasure.
Good to have you with us and such a fantastic story. So first, tell me, how old are you now?
I'm quite old. I'm 37. I'm 36, turning on 37.
Okay, but you still started. You still look very young, and you started.
Right.
I think when you were 17 or something, or was it even younger than that?
No, I started when I was 17. I had a bunch of Marwadi friends, and my dad was in the bank, so I don't really come from the business family and sorts, So this area in Bangalore where I used to live in was a Marwadi-dominated area, and then one of the friends introduced me to stocks, and that's how I got hooked onto it. And I think 2001 when derivatives got introduced on the exchange, I started trading derivatives, and I was hooked onto it for like forever. But then it's been a roller coaster, So around 2001, 2002, when I was finishing my engineering, so I also went bust. I'd saved up quite a bit by then.
Right.
I joined a call center, worked for 3.5 years, and kind of worked nights, traded days. So, and 2006, 2005, 2006, one of these guys would come back from the US and was I bumped him up in the gym, and then he asked me what I do for a living. I showed my trading account performance. I was trading with ICICI Direct then. And he saw my performance and said, "Can you do this for me?" And I quit my job and I started a portfolio advisory kind of a business. 2007, Reliance started off a brokerage firm in India called Reliance Security, Reliance Money, right? So I became a sub-broker for them. 2008, markets fell and I was on the right side of the trade.
Fantastic,
Right? And that day's context, it was a lot of money, and so...
and you're still smiling. Still smiling all the way to the bank.
No, it wasn't, as I said, and I was tired of trading, to be very honest, because I think this day trading is like a T20 game, right? You can't really keep playing T20 for the rest of your life, So I was kind of hitting my shelf life, I felt. My younger brother had joined me, you can call this evolution or whatever, I think younger are smarter, faster, better than you. So he continued trading, and I said, why not give a shot at being a broker that I didn't have as a retail trader.
Okay.
And that's how Zerodha happened.
It's a nice little recap there. Okay, so let me take that one by one.
Okay.
Lots of interesting, life sort of turning points there. So firstly, when you got hooked to derivatives, tell us about that experience in your early days, because you must have been also discovering your way, right, when it comes to the markets and figuring out your trades. You also said you suffered on the downside as well at a time. So talk to us about that.
No, I think, so before derivatives, right, the single stock risk, so if you wanted leverage, so you had to go to a broker, sit in his office and then and take that single stock risk, which was extremely, I think after doing this for so long, I've realized that on a longer run, if you have to survive, I think it's all about risk to reward, right? It doesn't make sense to take big risks because the short-term rewards don't pay off in the longer run, right? Because I've gone bust twice, so I'm telling you out of experience, right?
Okay.
So I think what happened in 2000 when Nifty futures and options got introduced was it just felt like, it just felt like, you suddenly have never driven a car and you get a 3-second car, It was like that, So, and because the opportunities were so immense, options were just, it's just mind-boggling, what you could do with options, So, I think that's where, as a broker today, I think we have, we are 260,000 clients, very active trading clients. So I think, if I have to, look at people who win and who lose, I think the guy who take lesser risks are the guys who actually, consistently make money, So
interesting.
But I think trading is like a sport. It's like music, right? As in, not everyone's made for it, right? I think, I kind of got lucky that I probably picked something I'm decently good at, so I survived, right? So, but I think the biggest, a lot of people keep talking about stop losses, etc., right? As in on trades. But I think the biggest stop loss in life is on trading itself, right? Because you need to kind of know the point where you say, dude, this is probably not meant for me, and stop it, because and I mean, again, you know, in hindsight, I think I was being extremely stupid, you know, to not do an engineering job and go work in a call center.
Well,
right?
yeah, but you know what, that's something that some of our contestants wonder as well,
Right.
that how much time should you dedicate to this?
Right.
I mean, should it be your sort of soul drive?
Right.
Should you be doing it in addition to a more secure job? How do you take that call?
No, well, if you're investing into businesses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're investing into a growing company and you spotted it, and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's a full-time thing, right?
Right.
I mean, that's but then if someone's looking at trading and making money in the markets, I mean, it has to be a 20-hour a day thing, right? I mean, I don't think there's no other way. I mean, there's no easy. I think like the people keep saying, right? It's the toughest place to make easy money, right? As in, it's because it's like a war every day.
So you need to have an appetite for it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like you have to go fight it out every day to actually be able to do it and come on top of it. And I mean, if you want to go there and if you want to trade and, you know, kind of be happy with just the act of trading, because a lot of people enjoy the volatility itself, right? You know, I mean, if that's a call, I mean, you can do a mediocre job at it and then survive for a long. Because there are some people I know, who have not made a single buck out of the market, but they've been trading for 10, 15 years, right? And they're still successful because they've not lost money, you know. Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know, so they're
still persisting. That hopefully one day they'll.
No, I mean, more than that, it's like a lot of these guys, it's free entertainment. I mean, like, you know, like you go to a movie, you're paying $500 for a ticket. You know, you get free entertainment every day, day in and day out for like 10, 15 years. You know, so you know, there are people like that, and so
it's an interesting way to look at it.
No, I mean, as in, if you enjoy trading,
I've never come across, never thought of it that way before.
Yeah, you know, so it's you know, I mean, you're actively day trading or you're trading derivatives. It's a zero-sum game, right? I mean, if you are making money, you have to be making money of someone else, right? As in, right, and right. So it's a competition, and you need to give time for yourself. You know, what happens here though is, I think, you know, which is a problem with a lot of traders is, once you lose, they tend to get aggressive in making back those losses, right? And that's a downfall. You know, I mean, that's, you know, I mean, that's where I think, you know, I think one of the small little skill sets I have too is of letting go. You know, so of not being egoistic of any loss. You know, because you have a loss, you need to just wipe it off and just start afresh. Because, you know, if you remember that and you're trying to make up for that, you tend to take more aggressive bets, which essentially means, you know, and trading is like, you know, like a tightrope walk, right? Right. The longer, I mean, the more number of times you're getting on the tightrope, you know, the more higher the chance of falling off, right? You know, so it's as I said, you know, I mean, it's tricky, but it's a beautiful thing, you know, for who's doing it, you know.
So, you know, it's interesting you mentioned that, because we've seen that on the show as well, that sometimes when people start getting a little nervous about lagging behind in the race, they tend to start, you know, becoming very erratic in their trades. I mean, what are some of the takeaways in your experience? You know, how do you manage that if right now you're in it? You know, how do you sort of grapple with coming to terms with managing those wins and losses and continuing to have the wherewithal to hang in there?
No, I mean, I think, see, with the competition where there's no real money at play, right? I mean, they can afford to do it, right? I mean, right? But then if it's real money at stake, you know, people's behavior also changes, you know, I mean.
And they're not making money out of this. They're actually losing because they're becoming a little too, perhaps taking too many risks and not thinking through it.
I think, you know, you cannot really, you know, first thing people need to understand is that you cannot make quick money trading. Right? As in, I think, you know, a lot of people, I think, I'd say 99% of the people who come to the markets come with the expectation that they can make quick money. Right? Now, can quick money be made in the market? Yes, you can, right? But then you cannot come in expecting that, right? As in, you come in saying, dude, I'll do the right things, and goddess luck smiles, you know, probably I'll end up making quick money, right? Otherwise, it's a grind, you know, I mean, you have to keep doing the right things over and over again, and one of the days when you're in a right trade and something happens in your favor, you can suddenly make quick money, right? But then you can't really time it, you know, I mean, you can't really come expecting for that to happen every day, and, you know, and so
there may not be a formula, but there is one definite ingredient to succeed, and that is hard work.
It is, and then I think, as I said, you know, I think trading is a mix of skill, firstly, right? As in, because I don't think everyone's made for trading, you know, I mean, everyone's made. You can learn to be an average trader, but like in any sport or like in music or whatever, you know, to be a great like a really, really profitable trader. I think you have to be born with the right genes, right? But then you can still manage like to be a decently profitable guy, and then by learning and putting hard work and all of that, right? And so if I had to say give credits to different aspects of that can make a successful trader, I'd say the most important thing is to keep the risk to reward in mind, right? Is to say never compromise on risk just because you think the reward's more, right? Because it's a ratio, so I mean, right? So it's so one is that, and two is I think whatever is the style of trading, not to keep changing it day in and out. I think
that's important.
Absolutely, because for assuming you have a certain way of trading, you need to do it for a while for it to show results. I mean, you can't just keep changing every day, because then you're not really building yourself as a trader as well.
So would you say that today's market is different to, let's say, when you first started out? Is it harder to find value in the market, or to find those so-called multi-baggers that will, really churn out those big numbers for you?
No, it's really, really like when I think about it, I think like I miss the 20 best years of India bus, right? I mean, this 1995 till I think 2007, which was which is essentially where you could actually buy into stocks at values which were attractive. So I think today, I don't think there's been an investable opportunity where when I say investable, where you can buy and forget about it forever, that kind of an opportunity in the last 5-6 years. And when I had that opportunity, I had 5,000-10,000 rupees with me, so it wasn't really too much to invest into. So I think today it's about a lot of patience, right? I don't think there are too many Infosys stories around, so I don't think a 10,000 rupees will become 2 crores by investing in an IPO anytime soon, because today what happens is, I think like if there was this this study I was going through, which is how in the last 10, 20, 30 years, how who are the people who are making money today, right? As in, it was the public, like the IPO investors in the 90s companies, right? But then the 2000 companies are all VCs, so the money is already made before the IPO comes through, right? So it's so as a public stock investor, it's extremely tough to actually find that multi-bagger that can make you a lot of wealth, by investing into a certain stock. So I think we all have to kind of realize that reality and say now is not the time where we can do it. If we can do 15% compounded, it's an amazing year, right? And you keep doing it for 10-20 years, the compounding kicks in, and then can end up probably making a lot of wealth, So.
Okay, so you're credited as well, Nithin, for having built a successful business, completely bootstrapped, the most profitable business in the retail broking space. So what's your vision going forward? As a young successful entrepreneur, where do you spend your money? How much of it do you put into stock?
No, I mean, I think so we have a trading portfolio and an investing portfolio. As in, the trading portfolio keeps getting churned, right, based on opportunities, right, short-term opportunities. The investing portfolio, has essentially seen nothing in the last 3-4 years, right? Because it's, when I say investing portfolio, is like like where you invest without the intent to sell it, right? So that hasn't happened. I'm sure it's the same with all the value investors out there, right? Because whatever you're doing right now, you're getting in with an intent to exit it at a certain point, right? So, but I think what we're, as a business, I think what the pain point we hit at was sometime early last year, we realized that we were becoming like a big fish in a small pond, right? As in for a 120 crore population, less than 25-30 lakh Indians actively invest, right? So which is our addressable market today. So we said we need to figure a way to kind of grow this market. There's no point just keep building the stuff for the people, this 25-30 lakh people. So there are probably 10-20 crore Indians who can invest, but they're not investing in the markets today.
Right.
So we started an incubator in Bangalore. It's called Rain Matter.
Okay.
So I think what has happened in this business, especially the stock broking and probably around investment and finances business, even though the fintech in terms of wallets and payment gateways, etc., has seen like an amazing growth in the last 3-4 years, but not really on the investment finance side, because I think generally in India, like I was telling you earlier, I think people don't look up to stock markets as with great regards, So like I come from a family where you don't study, you do nothing in life, right? So I mean, I've always been told by my family members to never go near stock markets,
right?
Right. So, and I'm sure it's the same, with a lot of people, right? And that's what's happening is the problem has been that startups have not been looking at coming here. Like when I say startups, I'm talking good quality startups, right? Like really high quality guys, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think we have too many products out there that can get the next 10, 20 crore Indians in. So we said, how about we give a shot at it and we go scout those startups, because today startups need money. So we said we put in like 35, 40 crores and we said we're going to invest into these startups. So put our skin in the game. And then for the startup, what we did was we call this as a broking as a service model.
Right.
And so what we're telling them is that the underlying layer to all of this is something that we already built. Right? The execution piece, the compliance piece, the go pick up the account piece, all of that, right? Yeah. There's no point repeating that, and I'm doing it today at zero cost. I mean, I don't even charge a brokerage to my clients, so I'm still able to do it. Yeah. Right? So, if you really want to build a business, it's a user experience business, right? You have to, right? So, and I think what has happened in the last 3-4 years, thanks to Ola, Airbnb, Uber, etc., is no one really wants to own the underlying asset. Right? They all want to own the user experience, right? Yeah. So, and so we have gone out and I think we are working with 6 startups today.
Okay.
And they're putting out some products which India has never seen before. So
how much money would you tell youngsters today to go and put into the stock markets? Would you tell them to take that big bet, go invest it all? Would you tell them to put 50% of their savings?
Right. I mean, I think it depends on like an individual's risk handling appetite, right? As in, so I think, but I think no one should miss this out because I don't know, if it's not direct investing, go pick up a mutual fund, right? As in, because the power of compounding is just immense, right? As in, the only right.
And that story is very much intact.
Yeah, I mean, I think 10-15% Indian markets over next 10-20 years is possible. I'd say it's very easily possible, and I think we are in that cusp of turning into like an economic power, right? As in like a superpower, So how much is as I said, I mean I usually when people ask me ask me questions on how much should I start trading the markets with, I say only what you can afford to lose, right? Because that as I said, that you don't get into the ego trap, when you have that, right? And if you spend some time 1-2 years understood the markets and someone comes to me and says, how much should I put now? I've done decently well with my small amount. I'd say, dude, I mean, the only way things work out for you in life is by taking more risks.
Nithin, thank you so much for joining us. Great having you on the show. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the logo on the left of your screen to stay updated. You can also watch our other videos shown on the right.